Well, it's Jerry here, and I've got a friend, we'll call him Ron, who ended up losing the configuration on his radio. Well, we're going to walk through the steps of getting that back, or at least getting the helicopter set up with a radio. So, the very first thing, whenever you've lost your configuration, the most important thing is the sub-trims for your swash plate. And that is one of the hardest things, to try getting back. You can use the old tie wrap around the main shaft up here and measure between that and each of the perches. Not real accurate, but it'll get you close. Or you can eyeball it, get all your servo horns straight using your sub trims and eyeball it and just make sure that everything is level. And that's or you can go through the full process of using a leveling tool like this. And you'll need to take the Jesus bolt out of the head and take the links off of the swash plate. Actually, it's the four on the inside. Leave these on the outside. Pull that head off. Slip this tool over onto the perches. And get your sub trim so that everything is leveled out and there's no light between the perch and these ends here. And I will do that later for this particular machine because we have wiped out the configuration on this Spektrum DX6i as part of our little experiment. So we'll go ahead and just get started on this thing. With your radio, we'll just go over some of the things here. You've got your trainer switch. We won't be dealing with that. This is your stunt switch, which selects your throttle and pitch curves for helicopter. In the back position, position 0 is your normal. Position 1 is for doing inverted flight or whatever we've got that second curve set up for. We're going to leave it in 0 for normal. Your DR switches for elevation, aileron, and rudder are here. We're going to put those all into a number 1 position. The gyro we're not worried about right now. I'm going to leave that in the up or 0 position. We are going to disable this throttle cut button. We're going to disable the combo for using stunt to automatically electronically set these DRs. We're going to disable that. And then the most important switch back here is our throttle hold. We'll be using that for doing our setup. In the back position is run. In other words, the motor will run in the back position, and in the forward position, the motor should not run if your radio is set up correctly. All of your trims should be centered, and you can visualize that whenever we have the radio turned on. In here is the trim settings as they currently are. And first off, let's go through. You single click the button here to get into your menu. Go to the very last item, which is Setup List. Click on that. Model type. You've got heli or acro. We're going to be leaving it on heli. If it's not already there, that's what you want to select. Get back to the menu. Down here for model name, you go ahead and use that menu to create your model name. We'll ignore monitor for now. It just allows you to see what your sticks are doing. Reverse will be used for reversing servos during setup. Swash type, very important here. Make sure it's CCPM 120 degrees. Throttle cut is going to be inhibited. That's this button up here. DR combo, it's also inhibited. That's using this switch to electronically put into DR when you go into step mode. We'll leave it inhibited. Not going to worry about timer or range check or power settings on this. Module type, we're just going to leave it in the auto, which is DSM and DSM2. And we can go back up now to the main. And basically the radio is configured for helicopter now. You should have a helicopter showing up in here and whatever name you gave it. Click once to go back into the menu. And DR Expo is our first one. We'll select that. With all in the down or 1 position, you should have 100% for all aileron, elevation, and rudder. If not, go ahead and change that now. For the Expo, which is on the right hand side, I leave the rudder inhibited, INH. And for Expo, I start off with 15% for the one position and 25% for the other position. To see the difference between 0 and 1, just flip the switch and you'll see the numbers change. Okay, but we want to be in 100% for this setup. Make sure your travel adjustments are all 100. And our sub-trims. Right now we've got, on this particular helicopter, I've got it set up with the sub-trims that I need. And this is where you'll actually change that swash plate so that it's properly level. Gyro. I start off on this particular helicopter using the GY48V gyro. I'm starting off with 35.5% in 0 position. That's this switch here. And I'm using 70.5 in the 1 position for head holding mode. These may change when I go out there and actually do the flight test, but these are starting points. Throttle curve. For our throttle curve, since we're going to be doing this setup right here, we'll just run through it real quick of what we've got set up on this helicopter, and then we'll show you what I want you to do with the hold. So going down here to normal, we've got for position low, we've got 0, then we've got 35, 63, 83.5, and then finally 100. For stunt mode, we have a V-type pattern where it goes from 100, 93, 85, 93, and back to 100. For our hold, we want that to be a minus 0.0%. That's what keeps this motor turned off with the throttle hold button, is that position right there. Okay. Now for the pitch curves. For the normal pitch curve that I've got set up on this helicopter, it's set up at the wrong stuff right now from when we did our setup. So let's set our normal pitch curve right now. Low should be about 45, 43, somewhere in there. So we'll just go with 43.5. For our position 2, we're going to go up to 50 or 49.5, somewhere in that area. For 3, I'm going to go up to 60, let's say 67. Just a rough number right now. We'll play with these later. 4, I'm going to go up to about 83 or so. 85.5. Okay. Now for stunt mode, I want to have a nice linear pitch curve. So we'll leave that alone at 0, 25, 50, 75, 100. For hold, now this one is important. I've put a stair step in this curve. So position 0 or low is going to be 0. And then the next 3 settings, which is the 2, 3, and 4, are going to be 50%. And then the last setting is 100. I want this stair step in here so that I don't have to worry too much about where my throttle and collective pitch angle is at. As long as I'm in this range, in this middle here, I'm in good shape. So that's what I want you to do, is make sure we're in, for your hold mode, you have this stair step. Okay, swash mix. Right now this helicopter is already pre-set up, and I'm going to go ahead and leave these in here, but what I want to show you though is these should all, when you're first setting this thing up, should all be set up to 100. Okay? And the reason for that is this is the maximum settings here that you're going to have for this helicopter for its total capable moving up and down for collective and for the cyclic pitch. So you want to have these maxed out. We'll use the DR settings later to restrict the amount of collective and cyclic pitch to a lower amount. There's no mixes, so both of those are inhibited. There's no revo mix, and that's all for our setup of the radio. So you should have helicopter and those other settings, and then we can go ahead and begin.